Dr. Lamia for an informative presentation. We have a slight change in our schedule. Now we're having the panel discussion on transformation and upskilling for future projects. I'd like to invite Ms. Grace Najjar, who is the moderator for this panel. Grace Najjar serves as the Managing Director of PMI's Middle East, North Africa, MENA region, and also leads PMI's Energy Working Group for greater reach and focus globally. Grace has helped PMI establish strong connections with influential organizers and organizations in this region through regional, national, and international roles. She was a long-time volunteer, notably as founding member of the PMI Lebanon chapter and chapter vice president and PMI Middle East region mentor. Most recently, Grace supported PMI as the corporate and government relations manager in the Middle East. Grace has over 25 years of global experience as an advisor, lead engineer, and program director. She founded her own firm, Align Management Solutions, in 2010. Please join me in welcoming Grace to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello and welcome everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to be here today at the Global Project Management Forum, a truly remarkable platform for thought leadership organized by our KSA chapter, which is the largest chapter of all regions. The chapter has put together in close collaboration with key players in the region, namely the Public Investment Fund. Well done to our chapter, our board, our community of volunteers under the leadership of Abu Muhammad, the engineer and President Badr Murshid. All of the talks and workshops in this summit have been examining the importance of the project management from all angles, and have confirmed the key role our profession is playing in advancing the Kingdom vision and ensuring we are delivering effectively the value, fast and effective. Without any further ado, please join me in welcoming our highly esteemed panelists. I would like to invite John Derner, the Director of PMO at Amala, under PIF. For the past 20 years, John has led leadership role in the delivery of large projects across MENA. He has executed major programs of large-scale real estate developments and construction projects and operation for multi-million-dollar profits for leading organizations across the Middle East, North Africa. John has an owner, developer, consultant, contractor background across the spectrum of portfolio, program and PMO management on some of the region's biggest projects. John, welcome you on stage, please. Antonio Nieto Rodriguez, professor, advisor, the author of the Harvard Business Review Project Management Handbook, is a PMI fellow, the former chairman of the Project Management Institute. He is the founder of Projects & Co. and the Strategy Implementation Institute. He is a member of the Marshall Goldsmith 100 Coaches. His research and global impact on modern management have been recognized by Thinkers 50. Antonio, welcome you on the stage, please. Dr. Ibrahim Shira has been assuming the role of Chief Transformation Officer in Saudi Airlines Holding since 2021. Responsible of the transformation of Saudi Airline Group to achieve its 2024 vision. He occupied several positions in Saudi Vision 23 programs. He worked as General Manager of Strategic and Risk Management at the General Authority for Endowments, in addition to previous experience in several companies in the private sector, such as AEC, Saudi Rail Company. He has over 20 years of experience in the defense, security sectors, privatization, public-private partnership. Dr. Ibrahim, please welcome you on the stage. Dr. Mu'taz Subjaki. He's a strategy and corporate performance professional with more than 12 years of experience. Based in Riyadh, he worked at Tharwa Management Consulting as a head of research and development and senior strategy consultant. He delivered consultancy and training programs in the Middle East and Asia in different sectors and industry. He holds a PhD in business administration and is pursuing a strategy specialization certification. Dr. Mu'taz, welcome you on the stage, please. Dr. Muhammad As-Surf is holder of PhD in Sustainable and Green Construction, the Regional Manager and Market Development for the US Green Building Council, the first Saudi lead faculty and lead accredited professional. He's the author of the book titled Sustainable Housing in Saudi Arabia, Opportunities and Challenges, member of several local and international professional entities such as the Saudi Council Engineering and the Project Management Institute. He is dedicated to applying a systematic approach to green construction and sustainable methods applied on projects in the kingdom to induce quality of life while preserving and depleting supply of natural resources. Dr. Muhammad, I would like to welcome you on the stage. Thank you all, and I look forward to our discussion on transformation and upskilling on future projects and on new ways of working. Today's digital transformation is a powerful disruptive force impacting all aspects of our lives. From an individual level, how it is affecting our privacy, our ethics, our human connection, and the way we cultivate skills, to how it's impacting our society as a whole, the inequality of the workforce, which is moving towards diversification, globalization, and the demand for highly skilled workers. Are we talking about a winners takes it all society? From economic level, how we view talent versus capital. We're talking about talent as the fuel or the oil of tomorrow. What are the future employment processes? What we're talking about, the knowledge or the gig economy, based on global networking and placing the customer at the heart. The digital transformation is always impacting on the national and government level, as countries and government are now in need to adapt to fast-changing trends and environment, which were accelerated after the COVID. Embracing new technologies, forming new regulations based on agility, transparency, and efficiencies. It is worth mentioning PMI's report on the 6 global megatrends and their impact on organizations and project professionals and what we call change makers. To name a few, digital disruption, climate crisis, economic shift, and labor shortage that are further driving the world towards the shift to what we call at PMI, the project economy. But today, we will talk in depth on the impact of this technological revolution on businesses, how it is forcing organizations to rethink their underlying assumptions in 5 domains, why they're going under their digital transformation: customer, innovation, value, competition, and data. Therefore, new business models, customer-driven data, tech-enhanced products and services are needed. But most importantly, innovation. How well you are leveraging technology and data to drive customer value and strategy execution. Those are crucial to ensure the success of businesses and future projects. All of this requires a new form of collaboration, new services, innovative operating and project management methods. And what is certain is that workers and project managers need to upskill themselves to meet the demands of those new business models and future projects. Therefore, the future of digital transformation isn't simply about technology, and I'm sure every single session during those 2 days have been highlighting the fact of people being at the heart of the digital transformation. As per Accenture, it's about how we're freeing people from job descriptions to deliver value and move toward project-based and agile teams. Even our PM book, 7th edition, have evolved to focus more on outcome versus output, on value versus deliverables. We are now more and more mapping skills to specific tasks and projects. We are now seeking capabilities that deliver outcomes. All the work is pivoting around services and business model based on high customer experience and maturity. We are recognizing the business case of why we're doing it. We are working to reinvent the savings, create more ability and foster the leadership, the DNA across all levels of the workforce. It's about how we are reimagining the work, focusing on tasks versus the job and balancing the need of automation and augmentation. In order to cope, finally, with this newly reimagined workforce and the new demand of projects, we obviously need to skill and upskill. And this is where the reorganization of the skills comes into play, where we have to build the capabilities around not only the technical, the emotional, the leadership, and what we call at PMI, the collaborative leadership, and all of the social aspects. Now the challenge lies more and more on how to create a comprehensive competency development framework, which includes diversification, integration, and the combination of skills leading to increased performance and business benefits. So I would like to address all of these topics with my highly esteemed panel. I would like to kick off the discussion with you, John. As one of the leaders of the largest investment in the kingdom, leading super mega projects and leading not only that, the PMO infrastructure, how do you describe your experience and more importantly, the best practices on the skilling and upskilling in support to the approach, business model and governance? And we would like to hear more about the alignment between people, technology, approach, and processes.
Thank you very much, Grace. At the outset, I would like to express my real honor and pleasure to be here today with all of these thought leaders in this remarkable forum. I'd also like to express my thanks and gratitude to Saudi Arabia, which has been such a large part of my life and my family's life for the last 25 years or so, and also how thrilled I am to see the remarkable progress that is going on and continues, as we speak, and how great it is that I have the privilege still to be part of that. So, in terms of digital transformation and how we can actually harness the capabilities of digital to enhance our customer experience, to actually improve and develop our colleagues and employees, and also, of course, to add value and benefits to each our organizations. I like to look upon it as a couple of challenges, but certainly to focus on the challenge of capability, the challenge of culture, and the challenge of putting this all together and to actually execute on those digital capabilities. So in our work currently, we are taking our project teams, all of our quite well-renowned, some of them experts in project management, who have been partaking in many of the world's leading projects, and we are trying to blend and infuse digital capability through recruitment, through empowerment, through introducing them to as much of the new technologies, especially in planning, scheduling, which I am very much involved in now. My role actually in Amala has migrated from being actually a PMO to currently a leader of the central planning. So that's kind of resonates with what Ontario was saying yesterday in terms of nomenclature of PMOs. So in my work, and amongst our team especially, we have tried to blend experts in data transformation, data mining, data handling, and kind of presentation with our more traditional project managers, project engineers, and project directors, and therefore bringing it together in a kind of blend that it not only can execute at a project level, but also incorporate all the benefits of the technology. That's one part of how we're approaching that. It's a key component, of course. And equally so is this evolution of a more open, more collaborative culture amongst the teams, the breaking down of silos, because that's, of course, what technology and its capabilities enable us to do. We find that people are collaborating better. We're working in smaller groups and smaller teams, more solutions-oriented, and getting ourselves into a position whereby we can really better capture all the power and the benefits of what we're trying to do. So we are currently implementing, or we have implemented this in the planning and scheduling department very successfully. I will kind of elaborate on that in a later question, part of the discussion. So generally, I would have to say that our approach is a blend of the traditional and the digital, and into a very powerful force for the future.
Thank you, John. Antonio, as a thought leader and a professor, as we know, investments in talent are very critical to organizations. We would like to hear from you your insights on the best ways and approach to make people the key successful factors in organization. As you know, technology needs proper enablement. It cannot be simply integrated and left to work on its own, and complexity may arise and challenge the projects. How can we equip and empower our team to be successful?
Thank you, Craig. So I think it's been mentioned by John throughout today, Lamia and Ricardo. The people are the driving factor of success. There's no doubt. I think you can replicate capital, you can find capital. What you cannot find is the people, the talent, the teams that you build, the culture that you have in your organization. That's what makes the big difference of success and failure. So as leaders, it should become a top priority, and especially with these very disruptive times where I think since 2008 we've seen crisis after crisis, plus disruption, new technologies. So I think that the people aspect is something that we all talk, but we actually don't put it on the center. And I see the evolution. You mentioned that, Grace. Several studies, also my research says that the future of job descriptions is dead. No, job descriptions are things from the past when there was stability, where people will spend 3, 5, 10 years in the same role and just evolving. A company of the size of IBM, for example, they decided to cancel 100,000 job descriptions because people were working on the different priorities, the projects, the clients, and so it didn't make any sense to keep them. What this means that everybody as individuals, we need to start seeing our jobs a bit as freelancers, even if you belong to a company. It's kind of, I call it the gig economy, but within your organization, where you are going to be moving not based in one department for 10 years. Now you're expected to move and be pulled into projects, initiatives, agile teams, which it makes your career much more exciting, much more enriching. It leads to much more learning and networking. So I think we are seeing this change, which has to be supported by HR, by leaders, but that's, I think, a huge opportunity for everyone to become the one you want to be, to do the things that you want to do, to choose your own career. You make your own career. Everybody will have their own career. There will not be standard careers. Everybody will have their own. Therefore, learning is crucial. Another important aspect is your personal brand. So you don't need to be a guru, you don't need to be writing, but the people associate your name to something that you deliver, that you're good at, and not just your role in the organization, but this person is great at team building, this person is great in digital, this person, and so building your network like you're doing here, it's an essential skill. Thinking about your brand, it's a very important part. Keep learning, continuous learning. I think it's just very exciting times because we're really disrupting how we treat people, how we look at careers, and the pure opportunities are huge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Dr. Mu'taz, as the head of research and development, you obviously see that talent and building capabilities are at the heart of the development and initiatives. In your views, what are the most critical competencies and skills that the organization needs to invest in to affect a better ROI, people and project performance, as well as business benefits?
Amazing. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Grace, for having me in this esteemed panel. Sometimes we need to go to the basics. What I mean going to the basics to identify or rediscover what is competency. Competency is the ownership of skills, behaviors, and knowledge. Without it, you don't have the competency, even if you have your certification or any credential. So this is one aspect. Second, if you allow me, Grace, I would like to engage the audience. Raise your hand if you would like to have in your team that member that have an outstanding behaviors or amazing interpersonal skills. Look, Grace, always behavior beat technical skills on breakfast. So this is most important. What we need now is to emphasize on the interpersonal skills, exactly communication, emotional intelligence. We have been seeing leaders with emotional roller coaster leading organizations. Nowadays we need to focus more on emotional intelligence. And one also important behavior or competency, wait for it, it's coaching skills for project managers. We need that important skills to be in our organization. On the other hand, I would also like to shed the light to the project management competency for the non-project manager professionals. I have been working in the HR field and strategy, and I'm seeing a lot of people trying to implement initiatives, but they don't have the project management skills, so they fail. So this is also an important aspect. At the end, building a framework, as Dr. Lamia was showing us some framework, building a framework that can map the real competency of the people to the organizational core competency, and we will talk on it later maybe. It's crucial for getting the better ROI or any business results. One of the most challenges that are facing organizations today, they are not be able to measure competencies. And it's clear and obvious, and that's the importance of having some assessment and so on.
Great, and this reminds me of the McKinsey research, which has listed project management one of the top skills of the future, which help close the skills gap. And you also reminded me of one of the global conferences at PMI, where a panel like this one with esteemed panelists, they were asked, what's the most rare skills that people are finding difficulty to find? And the answer from all panelists were social and interpersonal skills. So thanks for your insights. Dr. Surf, there are a lot of focus on sustainability, especially in the kingdom, in the project that you are currently undertaking. How have you implemented a sustainable mindset approach on people, especially those who are coming from an engineering or technical background, who are considering an ESG alignment, such as affordable, clean energy, industry innovation, infrastructure and compliance, sustainable cities, responsible consumption and production, clean water and climate actions.
Yes, thank you very much, Grace. I think that's a whole lot of questions that need to be covered in a very short time. So first of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Engineer Badr and the entire team for such an amazing forum. Sustainability, I think during yesterday and today we have saw that issue discussed intensely, and the importance of it is really not just the application of it from an environmental or economic or social perspective. It's more than that. And having the capability and having the right skills in those projects, especially all of the Saudi Vision projects and the Giga project, for example, it's very crucial. And we see the demand for it currently as a job description, that to apply for this job you need to have skills in sustainability or ESG or CSR or zero waste or carbon emissions and so on. So really the focus now for institutes such as PMI is really to target that market and bridge the gap, because there's a gap between the skills needed in the market and what is there in the market actually. So for example, one of the most important kind of elements in the SDGs, actually what we're doing here today, is goal number 17, which is partnership and collaboration. So such institutions as PMI, us at the Green Business Certification Institute and the US Green Building Council really are focusing, especially in this market, on really building the capabilities and upskilling the current skills available in the market. There is tremendous lack of skills available now in the market, and we see that projects nowadays are really asking for more training. Just to bring you a few kind of figures, I like to bring you some figures, but for example, yesterday's, in one of the talks yesterday, PMI CCO, Mr. Joseph Kell, stressed on the youth and climate. So Saudi Vision, for example, is focusing also on youth, and the 3 pillars of the Saudi Vision is also focusing on that. So you can see that there's alignment between all of those initiatives and targets, especially when you talk about the Saudi Vision with almost 96 different KPIs, and most of them are focusing on that issue. So, for example, the World Economic Forum estimates that more than half of the employees around the world need to upskill by 2025. So you can imagine that immense kind of effort that we need to put into the market, especially with what's coming up next, towards 2030, 2040 and 50, and reaching 2060 with carbon neutrality in the construction market. So I think, answering that big question, I think there's lots of work that we need to do. The efforts that are done here in this forum establish the grounds that we need to really continue on in the near future. So I hope that summarizes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can assure you on the leadership of Mr. Joe that we have lots of initiatives at PMI to work on this mindset shift of project managers, and we have lots of initiative and partnership to align what we do to the UN SDG goals and also the investment in ESG. So we believe that project managers have to make social impact and have to be aligned with the environmental challenges that we're living nowadays. John, would you like to add anything on what's going on with PIF in alignment with ESG and the United Nations, the SDG goals, especially on sustainability in a region which needs to work on a clean water, on climate actions, climate change?
Yeah. So in our projects, or our group of projects, Amaka is not part of the Red Sea group, and sustainability is a key pillar of all our work. It's a key pillar of the PIF vision, of course, for the future. And in Amala and the Red Sea, we have dedicated sustainability departments who are totally occupied with all the aspects of sustainability and environmental protection. So yes, Chris, it is a major component and focus of all our work.
Thank you. Antonio or Dr. Mu'taz, any other thoughts on sustainability and the importance of the mindset shift?
Yeah, I'm currently leading a huge sustainability transformation in a big pharmaceutical, and it's a very interesting topic because as opposed to many transformations, sustainability, everybody's in favor. You find very little resistance. But then the changes are very deep. They go really about favoring things that you have not favored in the past, like cost. Some sustainability solutions are more expensive in the short term. They take longer to be made. So what you see is that it requires a really strong decision-making leadership. And I think what I've seen is also that the project management professionals can play a huge role because one of the challenges or the areas when you work on sustainability is adapting your business cases. So business cases usually will have mostly financial criteria, some qualitative, and that's where you start adding sustainability criteria. And then, of course, they will not be favored as much as the usual ones, which is always return on investment, cost. So I think our role we can play here is saying, listen, sponsors, sustainability is one of our priorities, so maybe this project which has a less return on investment is the one we need to do because it's the more sustainable. So it requires that mindset change that we've seen, and I think we're in a unique position because the finance people will mostly be primed for the finance. This is their KPIs. But we are a bit more independent and we can say, okay, this time we need to prime sustainability. This is our vision, it's our strategy. And the problem is that everybody has sustainability in their agendas, but very few companies have it as the number one priority. And when you don't have things as number one priority, it just gets very spread with other priorities. So I think I see project management as the profession who can drive sustainability because we have access in the key decision-making process when companies are transforming to say to the senior leaders, listen, there's things we need to change on the business case, there's things we need to change on the gates, there's things we can change on the benefits, and we need to start measuring how much are we impacting on the plastic, on the waste. So there's nobody else that can do that. If we don't play that role, we can accelerate that because we're in control of projects. So I can go to my leaders, listen, you want to reduce carbon emissions by 2030, I'm leading that project, I can do it by 2025. But this is what I need from you and your leadership team and the board. So I'm seeing more and more how project management professionals can drive the big change, the big agendas that we have around us, especially sustainability. We cannot be just the people who deliver. We need to be the executives who make the change happen. And that means challenging finance, that means challenging your leaders, that means challenging a lot of things. But if we don't do that, then we'll see sustainability happen by 2050, I'm afraid.
Thank you so much. So as we're trying to align to sustainability, I would like to dig more into the new ways of working with you, Dr. Mu'taz. As we know, we are seeking new ways of working, and our PM Box 7 edition has also focused on the context-based tailoring. So what's your experience on how to build transformation leaders? And we at PMI, we have also recognized the role, the changing role of the project manager who is becoming more and more transformation leader who is able to embrace new ways of working, being hybrid, predictable, design thinking, and so on. What are the challenges in building these capabilities which can respond quickly to the emerging changes? Are you witnessing resistance from the team? What are your experience there?
Actually, I will quote from Tony Robbins, the chokehold of every business is the leader. So whenever you see any business going down, any organization have some challenge going down, check on the leaders first. I have been working with many leaders in the last 5 years, and I've been witness a lot of lot of challenges related to the communication and cascading the vision of the leaders to the team. Sometimes silos in the leadership and having this kind of just the individual vision will make challenges, of course, Grace. But in the other hand, I'd like this kind of leaders that, as Prince Mohammed bin Salman always we said, is the after the fact leader. You know, just this is what you need to do, and just you need to follow. Sometimes you need this kind of leadership in order to just make things run. So, Grace, yes, I would like also to make some, let's say, advice to the leaders. If you are not going to build another leaders during your organizational duration or during any organization, so you are failing. So if we need to put some KPIs on leaders, how many leaders do you created? So definitely yes. Did I saw or see challenges or team resistance? Sometimes self-interest become the main driver of some leaders' vision. And when we talk about sometimes there's bad leaders also. It's not always a good leader to have. So this is my insight.
Thank you. John, any other insights on the new ways of working and building successfully transformational leaders? Yes, just your thought on the embracing new ways of working in a project life cycle and building not only project managers but transformation leaders who can respond quickly to changes and to situational context, life cycle and processes and any other ways of working that can adapt to projects' complexity.
So, yeah, but it's just leading on from what I was saying earlier. We are very much focused on making our organization ready to capitalize on technology. And everything that we do is driving towards that. In other words, you know, we're trying to, all the time, to increase the competency of our teams, to increase the collaboration capabilities, to break down all these silos. We have put in place a specialist or kind of a customized performance system whereby we involve each other in developing our competency, assessing each other, engaging as a team or as a wider group, how we're performing, self-assessing, and taking it through assessment quarter of each quarter of the year. So it's a complete kind of all-encompassing process to make sure that we are execution ready, shall I say, for to really benefit from the capabilities of our technologies.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to address with you, Antonio, and then hear from the Dr. Surf, a very critical topic. With every discussion we have with our organization of top government, there are lots of challenges around putting together a responsive and innovative competency development framework, which is mapped from one hand to the level and segments of projects, and from the other side of the categorization of the skill set, which might include credentials like PMI. So how do you describe, based on your interaction with organizations, the best way of putting this competency framework, which, as I said, is mapped to multiple facets? At PMI, we have evolved our talent triangle to ways of working, technical project management, not only technical, but ways of working, the business acumen, and the soft or leadership skills. So what's the best way to make a workable competency framework and make it evolve, and definitely the financial aspect of it? How can we track the ROI? I know it's a difficult question to answer, but that's a challenge every organization is having nowadays.
Thank you, Grace. That's a very difficult question. I'm actually helping a few very large organizations with that at the moment. more on the project management track. And what you see, at least what I've seen, is that they do have some basis already. Most of the companies, they have been working in projects for 20, 30 years. So you need to acknowledge those expertise and what are they good at. And so don't throw everything away, but just build on what they have. Maybe a pocket of leadership there, a pocket of technical expertise. So start with that foundation, which people will recognize. So it's not a radical change, it's things that they do, but you just make it standard so that everybody can work. One thing that we have developed for a very large company called L'Oreal, it's blockbuster training. So one of the challenges is that every company has project management training, so everyone. But it's not like very exciting, people just go because they have. So one of the visions that we have for the career path development is to make like a blockbuster training where everybody is kind of excited to join. We need to make it attractive. We need to show that this is a career skill, a life skill, not just the usual way of looking at projects, but something that is modern, that addresses challenges like digital diversity, sustainability, and we're testing that right now in a couple of weeks to make that blockbuster. And then what you do is a sort of, right now we're talking about this freelance kind of workforce, so where we're trying to let people make their choices. You want to move more on the soft side. Well, you have, and what you were talking before, my colleagues, was emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. And then there are people who love technical and people who love the finance. So it's finding that basis that you need to deliver big transformation, and then letting people choose where they feel more comfortable, where they can perform the best. And that's where you come up more like a menu of competencies rather than a competency ladder, which I think that's what we've seen the last 50 years. So it's a bit of a different approach. We're testing. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but so far the feedback has been very positive. We have lots of people joining. But I think that's a bit of a different approach to looking at competencies and how to develop. The other big thing, sorry Grace, coming here is the coaching aspect. So we want to ensure that this is not just one-off, that people have the opportunity to come in 2 months and say, listen, this is what I've tried, it didn't work, that worked, I can have a bit more coaching. So in the job, coaching is becoming critical, not coaching all the time external. I think their very successful model is to have a combination and let experienced project managers to be the coaches of the younger generation. So combination of a blockbuster, different options, some coaching, and recognition. That's the last one I want to tell, that the senior leaders recognize that this is an investment for the company, that the people will have more career opportunities, that really in a big financial sector company I work, Euronext, the stock market, the CEO said this is a core skill. We're changing with fintech, with everywhere. We're just changing all the time. We have more projects than people. So I recognize that these skills, project management, are essential for everybody. I want to mention that when I talk project management is the modern version. Yeah, the more embracing agile, embracing hybrid, embracing a bigger picture aspect. So this was recognized by the senior CEO of this organization, and it's working.
Thank you so much. Dr. Surf, any other example on the workable models in putting a framework that meet the requirements of a project, sustainability one of which, and at the same time integrate the needed skills?
Yes, definitely. To reach that goal, I think there's different approaches to this. One approach is to lead by example. I might take John, for example, from Amala. At the USGBC, we monitor how much hours our members kind of take from education. So from the Red Sea Development Company and Amala, they have consumed more than almost 2,500 continuing education hours in last year. So that's kind of the approach or the model Red Sea and Amala is taking, is the approach of
enhancing their capabilities and fostering their employees to really nurture. And I'm sure maybe John later on can elaborate on how employees have really benefited from such a platform to really establish sustainability in that idea, and specifically for project managers as well. At the USCBC, of course, we provide that kind of initiative to have that kind of platform for education, as well as I kind of like to kind of elaborate on PMI's KSA chapter, where they have more than 2,800 members. So I think PMI is what they're doing today and yesterday is following that model by leading by example and providing the environment for people to really enhance their upskill and skills. There's one quote I liked from one research that has been done by that's in collaboration between PwC and I forgot the other organization's name, but the quote that they said that companies should provide trainings like a salad, not a main course. So I think people are getting hungry close to lunch. But so upskilling companies and organizations need to provide salad courses, which means the soft skills, the short courses that really employees need on a daily basis. The main course kind of training is really to really enhance, for example, PMP and so on, lead accreditation and so forth. So I think, based on the research that I found, that companies are really kind of targeting towards that, maybe on a daily and hourly basis. So that's what I like and usually use as the case study from Amara, the Red Sea development company. Is that's a success story that really we are proud of, really stating forward to the stakeholders. And I think we have here Engineer Badr and Engineer Thabit as Contractors Authority. I think we have also the Saudi Council of Engineers, those three entities basically. I can see a lot of perspective in the near future to really enhance that, and not just for the skills, but also the SDGs and sustainability.
Thanks. And even PMI, we have responded to the need of our market and the need of micro certifications, and we have moved our portfolio into a career development framework, which is mapped to segments. We have the entry level, the specializations. So we have courses like the hybrid agile course with only 10 hours you can get the specialization, the organization transformation that has been invested in Brightline, and the construction certification, which I invite everyone to look at. So I think we're no longer talking about silos of certifications. We're trying to map every single need of different segments. So we facilitate for an organization the task of putting together a comprehensive framework. Not sure if we can take more questions from the audience, how we're doing with time. Dr. Mu'taz, any final thought on the competency framework?
Yes, I would like to add here, Grace, there is two missing pieces here. One is, let's go back and think strategically. When we build the competency framework, it should be reflect to the core competencies of the business itself, which mean the DNA of the business. Usually competency framework fail because they don't care about the core business, the core competencies. This is why we saw the Dr. Lamia percentage that 70% of people are lack technical, or they don't have the skills because they are not mapped in the right way. And the other missing piece, yesterday Engineer Thabit was talking about the aggressive targets. Aggressive targets needs aggressive teams. So usually we build frameworks for individual and not teams. So if you are going to manage a high-performing team, you should consider the high-performing team's competencies, not only just individuals. So this is another thought to share. So when we build this framework, Grace, and later on we map these kind of three competencies, and voila, you have your secret sauce.
Yeah, thank you. And our standards has evolved to embrace the team. So we have the whole chapters in the PM book around building teams and effectively, so they can effectively lead projects in today's changing environment. So if there are no questions, I would like to thank very much our highly esteemed panelists. I think our panel today has shed the light on the importance of people being critical and investment in talent, skilling and upskilling, and the alignment between technology, people, processes, and the approach and the new ways of working, so we can tackle the emerging changes, the technology, the complexities that are brought, but all what's going on in this ever-changing world. Obviously, we're part, our project managers are part of this change, and we have to evolve so we can envision a more effective future, effectively delivering value with speed and with high ROI. Thank you so much for your participation. I would like to thank our audience for your attention.